And we're back.
Yay!
Thrilling. All right.
The thrilling conclusion of
The
our
thrilling-
introduction.
Yes. so so if I can wrap up what happened at the end of last episode succinctly, the party had two possible meetings with both like mysterious contacts that they developed. They had a meeting scheduled with Darius Buffo, who is a dwarf, and his family is associated with the shipping industry in Twin Harbor. He said, "Meet me at the Bottle and Blade Tavern at 10 o'clock, and I'll drop some stuff on you." And then they had another meeting at midnight that is from their mysterious benefactor that has been giving them jobs throughout the beginning of this adventure. They decided very mysteriously. They went to go see Darius, and Darius shed some light on the situation and told them that their other mysterious boss was actually Garth, the captain of the guard, and Garth was actually leading them into a trap. And what Darius wanted to do was completely mess with his plan. He told the party that Garth was going to be having a shipment coming in, and he wanted to go steal that shipment. So they surreptitiously lowered themselves onto the boats that were stealthily making their way across Twin Harbor's waters, and they stole the boats and took them to this other designated spot. And Darius wanted to steal all the drugs. It was actually like a huge shipment of Sapphire Dream that was coming into Twin Harbor, and Darius wanted to steal all the drugs. And he thought he had the party behind him in that venture for whatever reason. He thought that he had them on his side, but they kind of turned on him, and very explosive situation.
Let's give credit where credit's due. Eridu turned on him. And a very explosive situation happened that involved the city guard being called into the situation. And Alton and Onn found a way to escape, and they are currently trying to track Darius, who fled from the scene. And the city guard descended on poor, helpless, very just helpless Eridu. Serves him right, man. That's what he gets for not rolling above a 5 last session.
Yeah, pretty much. When you roll below 5, you're just gonna get taken custody.
It's when the player's like, "Fuck this character. He can get what he deserves."
Yes, that's right.
Harsh.
Let's blame the dice rolls and not the choices that Eridu made.
No, the choices are perfectly sound. If he had rolled well, they would have worked out for him.
Yeah, it could have worked
That's
out.
just how life works out. If you just roll well in life, it works out for you. It doesn't matter what choices you make.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, yeah.
True
It's
enough.
like if you give a girl a bunch of teddy bears, she'll totally date you.
As long as you roll well. If you roll poorly, it's not going to happen.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Anyway, so yeah.
So that is where we left off, and where we shall start, I believe, is just with Eridu. You rolled so poorly, as we just mentioned, that you really look like you're not putting up much of a fight at this point. The exhaustion, and maybe I think actually you definitely are getting senses of withdrawal. Like this, you're getting this absolutely like yearning, gnawing feeling inside of you that is like sapping the strength from your body and sapping the will from you, and you just can't put up much of a fight.
I actually kind of chalked up a lot of what was going on in last session to this sort of that Eridu started going through withdrawal.
Yeah, for sure.
Tonight, for sure.
It makes absolute sense. So, despite the fact that you are not putting up a fight, the guards are absolutely merciless with you. One comes in with like big chainmailed fist and just punches you in the gut, and you double over, retching, about to puke, and the other one just cuffs you on the back of the head. Like, they're absolutely... Yeah.
Probably about all she wrote right there. It's probably just Eridu on his knees.
Yeah.
For air.
Oh, yeah. and they pull out. They have heavy iron manacles that have they have a short links between them. So as they cuff you, your hands are very close to each other, and they do the same with your feet, but there's a longer chain on there, so you can still shuffle and you can still walk. And yeah, you are under custody. And they start hauling you off up the stairs from the platform where the boats were. The boats, I forgot to mention, are on fire, and at this point the fire has spread to the shipment of drugs inside. The Sapphire Dream is held within these like clay pots because it's like an ointment almost. So you hear just like shattering and bursting. There's like clay shrapnel just pinging off everywhere. The fire is an intense, bright blue color. Kind of like when you turn on the stove and you get those like really blue hot flames. Like the whole thing just looks like that. And
so that means there's not even a lot of smoke then, because so like the neighborhood isn't getting high. It's just burning everything before it gets a chance.
Yeah, I mean the smell is really intense. There's definitely there's an intense smell, but it's not like smoky. It's just like just intense flame.
From what I understand too, it's not the kind of drug that would get people high if it was turned into a.
No, it's not. It's not like an aerosol kind of thing. Not really at all. So it's just a fantastic spectacle, but Eridu is unable to appreciate it as he is being mercilessly beaten by the guards, and you are taken off in a different direction along the docks for a while, and then you turn in and you're heading toward what is one of the guard outposts in the city. And yeah,
that is what is happening.
That is what is happening to you right now.
That sucks.
It does suck, dude. And then the other two guys, I'm pointing at both of you right now. I don't know what it looks like on your screens, but I'm pointing at both of you. So
I'm on top.
Yeah. So you're running toward Darius, and you said that you had a hunter's mark on him, but it should be dissipated by now, or is that still going?
No, so it lasts an hour, but I can't. Okay, so it lasts an hour, so I still have it on him, but he's no longer within 90 feet of me, so I don't know his exact location.
Okay. Yeah, but you do know his general direction because you've been chasing him, so that will...
I do know his general location.
Yeah.
And, okay, so yeah, until the spell ends, you deal an extra blah, blah, blah. And I have, so if I see you within range, I can mistily mark it. And I deal extra damage, and then I have advantage on perception and survival checks for him. I don't know. It doesn't say specifically. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think that I know where he is. I can't ping him like radar outside. At least the way that I kind of understand it, I can't just ping him like it's radar outside of 90 feet. It's not exactly very clear.
For sure.
But at the very least, I have advantage on perception and so I can track him.
Yeah. Okay, so what happens is like you had gotten your last shot off, and now you are on the edge of this. There's like a wide open space in between a bunch of buildings, like a little plaza area, and you are kind of like making the rounds and just like checking out different routes, and then as you're walking by this one alleyway, Onn just comes running full speed out of the alleyway and just smashes into you.
Okay. I guess how much do I stagger? Is it like I guess I'm tiny, so I stagger a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna make you like fall prone or take damage. It's just you guys have a comical moment.
Right. Yeah, we have a comical moment. The question that I have is how much does that slow me down? whether I should say something while we go or just recognize that he's there and continue to bolt.
You can be totally unfazed by it if you want to be. You can just ignore him and say like, "Come on," or whatever. Like,
okay, so then okay, this way. Basically, I just kind of point and say this way, and I'm not even going to ask for my swords back right now because that's going to take too long.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm all for. Ooh. Oh, never mind. No.
So yeah, and so then I want to change. I don't want to. Basically, I'm aware that I can no longer feel him, so to speak. But I want to try to track him down.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I will join you in that.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't say specific. Ugh. It just says so. It just says that I mark the query that I see within range.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that it's gone. For now,
the mark
but
isn't gone, but I can't. Like I said, I can't ping him.
Okay.
No, it's the advantage. It's the advantage on perception check. It's supposed to make it easier for you to follow him.
Yeah, basically.
Knowing his exact location is only within that 90 feet. So that's the benefit you get out of it long term is you can just track it easier.
Right, that's what I understood. Is just it's worded super weird. So that's
how it's meant to be. That's raw right there.
Or is I Ray, whatever.
Raw.
Rai. Well, no, because it's written.
I know.
Right. Rules as intended. Yeah.
Okay, so
no, that's how I assumed it was going to be. But so I want to continue to chase him.
Yes. So go ahead and make a survival check.
Okay. With advantage because
that's the rules as written.
Because that's the rules.
That's the raw, dude.
Because that's what the GM told you to do. Because
that's what I said, dude.
11 on the 11 currently.
11.
Yeah, not great.
Not great.
6 and a 3.
Not great. You do find enough drops of blood that go in a general line, so you get a direction. It's definitely like he went to that side of the plaza, you know.
Okay. Tell me how many times I need to roll, and I will continue. Like, obviously, I'll make decisions. Like, you can tell me like what path, and then I'll continue along that path. But tell me how many times I need to roll survivals and perceptions to continue on. So,
okay.
As you narrate.
Okay. All right. Onn, are you gonna have any like particular reaction to the situation or anything that you're gonna try and do in the situation, or are you just following Alton?
I will be purely following Alton, trying minor flourishes of things to help, like using gust to help me, like just leap over like 6-inch tall like boxes that happen to be in the street or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's like hardcore. That's hardcore parkour right there.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's when we get to the crates full of chickens and those two people trying to like carry a pane of glass. That's when we're gonna hit some.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I follow the trail of blood, and you said it was just kind of like it's an open thoroughfare, or it's heading off into an alley.
It's like, so you got the plaza, and then there's like multiple like alleyways and thoroughfares that connect to it, and you guys came in from like this direction. So I'm gonna say like with the trail of blood, it's like you get this general idea of like he went that away, you know.
Okay.
Gonna keep
gotcha.
Going that away.
I guess I would need to stop and do an investigation of what direction I can see, right? Like, because once I get a general area, it's going to be...
Yeah, you see one main road and one alleyway. That's kind of how you narrowed it down. It's like, he's definitely in this direction.
Right. Definitely the direction that he's headed in, kind of in potentially one of those situations. I think I'm going to follow the I'm gonna do a perception check and see how people are reacting. In either the alleyway or the
people.
Yeah, like the people. Like, are there are people around?
Not really. It's like the middle of the night, man.
Like, is there like, okay, if it's two people, it doesn't matter. Are they looking at the, like, do they look like they have watched something unusual?
There's, like I'm saying, like, it's like 1:30 in the morning, and there's like the only people that you see are people that are drugged out on Sapphire Dream that are like their feet are sticking out of the alleyway or something. Like,
gotcha.
There are zero coherent people.
Yeah.
There's zero coherent people. Okay, gotcha. In that case, I'm gonna follow the main road for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna follow the main road, just doing a. I guess it would still be survival because I'm tracking him, not necessarily investigating.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to follow the main road for like a block and see if that's the route with which he is gone, but not having gone too far that I can't correct.
For sure. Okay, you can go ahead and make another survival check with advantage.
Well, that is okay, much better. 22.
Okay. All right. As you go down this main road, you see that there has been you do see a couple more drops of blood, and then you see that close to, like, you know, you go down maybe like 20 feet, and then there's an alleyway that goes off to your left. And then by that alleyway, there was like a big stack of like just crates and trash and debris that was piling up. And that is like knocked over and just strewn everywhere.
So I'm going to then, without looking at him, which is goes against every nature of his being, but just the situation demands it. I telepathically tell Onn, I point and I telepathically tell Onn that way, and point to the crashed area, so that way it's very clear what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, and go off in that direction.
Okay, I will follow immediately. I was just checking the distances of a lot of my spells. They are relatively short range, which is disappointing.
Bummer.
Shame.
Bummer.
Yeah. I should think more about my spell selection.
That's what I'm saying.
Character choices over spell selection, man.
Or
Okay.
I could just
I'm
be
all
a
about
wizard
character.
and have loads. Yeah.
So, okay. So as you guys are tracking, I'm going to take it back over to Asa. Asa, you're dragged into the guardhouse, and the guards take you back into the really stinky, like, holding cell area. There's a bare section that where the ground is just all wet, and they take you through this whole like processing process, let's say.
A processing process.
Yeah,
All right,
processing
process. This is something that I want to interact with.
They're just like not, they're not treating you well. Let's say that they're talking down on you the whole time, saying these very racist remarks about elves in general. It's they're two humans, they're just very disdainful of you in general, and they're treating you like you're a piece of trash. And
what is the processing? Are they like gathering information from me? Or are they just taking like an inventory of what I have on me?
That's essentially it. Is like they put you into this corner where there's like water all over the ground, and they strip you naked, and they take all of your possessions from you, including your deck of tarot cards. They take a huge bucket of cold water and just splash it on you, and they take off your bandages that were covering your areas on your legs where you've been administering Ethereum to yourself.
Yeah.
And they give you some prison clothes that are just made out of this like burlap material.
So like this pair of raggedy pants that barely fits, and like
Yeah.
a shirt that's almost more like a vest that's just kind of.
Yeah, you're just kind of like drowning in burlap right now, and you're all like wet and chilly, and in general, very very miserable. And then they stick you in a dark holding cell, and you know.
So Eridu is going to go all through this with the stoicism that only a monk can maintain. Somewhere between like feeling an onset of like a fever building up and just doing his best to not absorb any of the negativity around him.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole time he's pretty much eyes closed, like in this not a tense stance, but like just like arms down at his sides, kind of a little bit tight, and just kind of, if he needed to react, he could, but he's not going to. And then once he's put in the holding cell, he's just going to start softly singing to himself. I'm not going
to. We're all expecting it. We're all expecting it, dude.
Oh, okay. Oh. In the cold that I live, to love and adore you, it's all that I have, it's all that I have. In the cold that I live, I only live for you, it's all that I have, it's all that I am. Why do I keep falling? That's the whole song. I've been listening to a lot of Mumford & Sons, I'm sorry.
I love it. Oh, wait, hold on. All
right, cool.
Okay, sorry. All right, so Eridu is dealing with the situation in as zen a fashion as he possibly can, and that's admirable.
It's more because he is full on like breaking into a sweat, like fever building, just doing the best he can to keep himself coherent at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Vomiting will commence soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
Maybe the singing is to keep that from happening.
Oh yeah. All right, so back to you other guys. You are tracking him down the street. You go going into this alleyway that seems like it's a really likely place for him to be. And at Alton, as you enter the alleyway, your sense just totally like goes crazy. You're like hunter sense, and you realize that he's around. You don't immediately see him, but you can sense that he is around.
Gotcha. And so like I'm basically at the edge of the 90, close to the edge of the 90 feet, essentially.
It actually kind of like hits you like a just like a brick wall. Like as soon as you enter the alleyway, you realize like, oh my gosh.
Okay.
He's
so
here.
Then I'm gonna super head on a swivel, and basically still track him, but be much more focused on looking for him in this area.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like seeing if I can just kind of like glance around and like see if I can see like maybe I see him or I see signs of him or something like that. But being aware that that I haven't found him yet.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm going to also turn to Onn, and I give him this, and I do like this and this, and I say he's somewhere here, again telepathically, because this is what he does.
Mm-hmm.
But this time I look at him directly.
How wide would I say the alleyway is?
10 feet at least. Let's say 10 feet. It's like 2 squares.
Okay. I'm going to nod to Alton, and then I'm going to do a thing.
Uh-oh.
What thing am I going to do? I am going to, I think, cast Cloud of Daggers. I'm going to cast Cloud of Daggers in the middle of the alleyway, so that if he wants to squeeze past, he's got like 2.5 feet either side.
Mm-hmm.
But if he tries to charge down the middle of the alleyway, and I'm going to put that at the mouth of the alleyway in a way to sort of block it off.
Okay, so you guys are in the alleyway, and you're putting it at the mouth of the alleyway that leads into the street where you guys just came from.
That way he can't escape us. He can't go behind us to try to...
Okay.
Okay. And I've just been reading Careful Spell as well. That only works on spells with saving throws, so I can't exempt us from Cloud of Daggers. But what I will do is I will extend the spell to double its duration to 2 minutes. So that's using a sorcery point and a second level.
2 minutes of daggers.
Yeah, and then I'm going to cast it, which involves a verbal and somatic and material component, that sliver of glass. So it's going to be obvious that I'm casting something. I'll nod to Alton, turn, throw the shard of glass, which will let them hover in the air for a moment before shattering and twisting until they're just out of view. And so there's this like slight shimmer in this 5-foot cube at the edge of the alleyway. If you look from certain angles, you can sort of see these blades. And then turn back to Alton and just give you a knowing nod.
That's super sick description. Super cool.
So I just look at him because he just did a verbal command and made a lot of noise, and then the spell itself made a lot of noise, and so I'm just like... Okay, and then I want to, like I said, so...
All right, no, my turn. No, it's my turn. No, the DM says something. It's my turn. Alton, does a 14 hit your AC?
No, I think it's 15. Hold on, let me double check that really quick.
Okay.
It is 15.
Okay, so you are about to do something. You're like swiveling your head, and you feel this like little whoosh of air as something just grazes your hairline, just the ever slightest bit, and then you hear this loud shatter, and you feel this like, just like little kind of shrapnel-y effect on your clothes, like something hits you, and you realize a glass bottle just flew right by your head and almost smacked you right on the dome, and shatters right behind you.
And so I would have a general idea of where he's at, right?
It came from above.
Okay. I know. I totally get that would be about the closest I could get. Don't get me wrong. That's pretty good, deal. Obviously, knowing that it came from above. So, I just want to.
Mom says hi.
Hello.
She knows she's live this time, right?
Yeah, you're live, Mom. No, live. You're on the internet.
Yeah.
You're internet famous, Mom.
You're internet famous.
Yeah.
Famous.
I'm gonna rock.
All right, so I'm sorry, Alton.
You can tell we're very high production, running a tight ship.
Oh yeah, it's a tight
studio
ship.
Space is super controlled. Oh, great.
Okay, I guess I would want to. I guess probably be a perception check, maybe. I'm not sure, to see if I can see where he's at, or if I can see him, because silent speech is again kind of vague. It just says I can speak telepathically to any creature within 30 feet of you. Would that be any so? Would that essentially be I can essentially lock on to creatures, not necessarily their location, but within aware of within 30 feet? That basically in my brain there's a list of people that are within range that can adjust accordingly, or would it be I have to? Oh man.
Those are implications of the rules that I'm not sure if I want to make a ruling on. I'll just say that you have the ability to shout. You know what I mean? You're able to shout it out. And anyone
I can't
who's
do that.
within...
That goes against Raw. So this is what I'll say. Make a perception check to see if I can see him. If I can't see him,
okay.
At least for right now, if I can't see him, then I can't talk to him.
Might I offer an interpretation with an analogy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you would essentially do a frequency-specific shout. So it would hit everything within the area, and anything that can detect the presence or absence of psychic phenomena would go, there is a psychic phenomena thing happening here, but that it is locked in, like an IP address. And so only the intended recipient would receive it, but that wouldn't tell you the geographic location. It would just... Yeah, so the intended recipient could hear it, it wouldn't be able to be intercepted, but that wouldn't let you know the real world location of them, but you could communicate with them, and that could
I assumed that part. I just wasn't sure if I could make a connection if I can't see them. That was the question I had, was that piece of information. Yeah, there's no way I could use it to triangulate them.
Yes, but what I'm saying, what I think Carl was suggesting is that you could sort of do this burst. Even if you don't know if they're there, you could send a message with an intended recipient, and if they're there, only the intended recipient would be able to receive it.
Okay, so basically I can say, because I'm looking for a specific person. So because I'm saying Darius.
Yeah.
I'm looking for Darius.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not just saying anyone, I'm saying Darius. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I mean,
Sandra, who's throwing out a chamber pot, isn't going to suddenly go, ooh, there's a psychic hobbit around.
Okay, no, I got that. Like I said,
I smell a psychic hobbit here.
Yeah.
Okay.
3-5-0
Yeah.
I get you. Like I said, there are certain things where the rules are kind of vague, so I wasn't 100% sure.
Yes, absolutely. It's it is an interpretation. I wouldn't say that mine would be an official sort of like Wizards of the Coast supported ruling, but it's one that I think makes sense.
It makes sense to me. Okay, so then I am going to I'm gonna make that connection.
And
I'm gonna say. Hold on, in a very calm and reassuring tone. I'm gonna say, okay, hold on. I'm sorry everything escalated. A lot of that was my fault. In a very weird way, I was trying to de-escalate because left alone, a fight would have started before we could have resolved it. Did I make a mistake? Yes. Does that mean that we can't come to terms again? No. Please, let's come down. I promise you I won't attack you. And then without prompting, I'm going to basically take my bow out and I'm going to put it on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say, I'm not going to hurt you. I don't want you harm. I didn't want us to be able to not talk it out.
You hear a raspy voice come from above you, from some sort of balcony, and he says, "You have no idea how much coin you cost me. Give me one good reason why I shouldn't pop you in the head with this hand crossbow right now."
I mean, I didn't cost you anything. That was totally Eridu, and that's between you guys. Look, there is more money to be had for you because we can help you it's in both of our best interests to deal with your competition. So we can work together. We can. That's great. We can work together. We can make sure that we take him down together. I am not going to interfere with your business going forward. That the rest of that is between you and Eridu. I don't give a shit. It's between you guys.
Might I offer a piece of tactical information? That's good. Was the response psychic as well?
Nope. You can hear him.
You heard him say, "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't pop you in the head with this hand crossbow now." That's what you heard him say.
Say to Alton, Alton, might I offer a piece of tactical information that you may find relevant?
Okay. So then at this point, I'm going to switch to vocalizing, because now we're in a multi-way conversation. I'm like, okay.
I've identified the location of Darius. He is just up there. I heard him speak.
I'm taking a moment. This is in character. Thank you. Thank you, Onn. I appreciate. Yeah. I appreciate all the help you've given me today. We'll have further conversation about that later. But I appreciate your valuable insights.
You're very welcome. I must confess, I've become quite an adept hunter these past few months.
So good.
Totally.
Oh, you're so good.
So then I'm gonna go back to telepathic, because that was a useless waste of my time.
Okay. So, all right. So I'm gonna say that you made your case, but it requires a persuasion check.
Okay.
Because you're trying to de-escalate a hostile situation.
Great.
We need a little bit of help there.
Ooh, that's actually not bad. Because even though I have a negative, okay, 16.
Okay, that will be enough to to do this. You guys hear a sound that kind of sounds like a something like that, like some kind of bamfy, swoofy, something kind of sound. And then Darius, his voice is now coming from in front of you, and you realize from the dim light that's coming in from the alleyway behind you guys, you can see his outline. You can see very clearly that he still has his hand crossbow in his hand. Maybe not pointing directly at you, but in such a way to where it can be pointed directly at you if he needs to.
Essentially, he would get a surprise round because my hands are full.
Yeah, your hands are full. Maybe he's got...
Full, but they're empty. I'd have to go pick
exactly. Yeah, he's also got those quick draw skills, like... Whoosh,
yeah.
Whoosh, whoosh.
So, yeah, especially when it's pointed essentially at me.
Yeah,
like,
not directly, but pretty close, like...
Yeah, so all you have to do is this.
Yeah. So you see his outline in front of you, and he says, "I'm listening for some reason."
Okay. So, look, we have... Look, okay. There's no reason that we can't still help each other. Okay? I don't know, we can work out a deal about Eridu fixing your... or working out a deal with him about your lost finances. Okay? That's whatever. It's between you and him. I don't care. And if you don't mind, would you like, I can maybe heal you a little, and I'll put my hands up and just, like, in a way that I just kind of want to, like, essentially I would be readying, what's what I'm looking for? Holding my action on casting Cure Wound, so he would see that a spell, like a healing spell, is being ready to heal him on my hands.
Yeah. Okay, he says, "Don't touch me."
Okay. And then just so I don't have to waste the spell, I'm gonna touch my legs and cure wounds on myself. So just so I don't waste that spell.
Good move.
Might I ask, Darius, what do you envision being a possible course of action that could repair our relationship? As much as Alton and myself are not Eridu, we have associated ourselves with him, and as such, jointly damaged our collective relationship with you. For that, I deeply apologize.
Yeah, that's the thing about your friend Eridu, is that you're putting all this on him, and he can't help anyone now. You realize what's happening to him, right? They've got him. They've got him hook, line, sinker. He's gone.
But you do understand, Darius, that this also places yourself in a rather unfortunate predicament with ourselves. You accused Garth of setting up a sting operation in the Fey Lounge, getting all of us in trouble with the legitimate authorities for something which we did not have a direct hand in. And we find ourselves in the unfortunate circumstance that after a brief encounter with yourself, one of our party has been caught by the authorities for an event that he was not directly in charge of. So you see, you are the sole source of information for which Garth is implicated, and the actions for which you were suggesting that Garth would present his heinous activities to us, you have in fact brought to fruition. So it seems that we're at a bit of a stalemate where we can't quite trust each other. There must be some way forward. Perhaps some time apart to mull things over?
You're right. The situation is complicated. And maybe more can be learned about your friend, whether or not he's still alive. I don't know. It looked to me like those guards were just ready to kill him right then and there. But it's possible that he's okay. It's possible. But yeah.
I am of the, and obviously this is allowed again because this switches back to there's gonna be a lot of code switching with me, so I have to distinguish that. Here's my thought. We work together right now. Okay. We can maybe inquire and see if there's something we can do about Eridu. I'm not very optimistic about that. Not gonna lie. I find big folk to be unreasonable most of the time. So we're going to have to, but at the very minimum, we all, as much as there is now distrust between us, we are, have no choice but to work together. It is unfortunately both mutually beneficial to work together, and we are kind of in a mutually assured destruction situation. So we are kind of stuck for right now. So Onn and I can work with you for right now and resolve this entire situation until we can get everything settled down and everything under normal circumstances, or as normal as possible. And when we can, we will negotiate a penance for Eridu.
Very well.
Okay.
You make some good points. And you're right about we can't trust each other. But that's the way this city is. You can't trust anyone. And to get something for yourself, you got to do something for someone else. And your moral obligations will only get in the way. So you better just get rid of those before we go any further.
Unfortunately, like I said and like you said, this is the way that it has to be for survival.
So, you do something for me, I do something for you. What's the plan?
What do you need?
I need you to help me raid a site because you guys screwed up my little money-making opportunity right there. I've got another idea for a job, and you guys can help me.
Okay. Let's do it. On, in or not, we have to do it. Whether you want in on it, I think it's our best, and I'm going to do it too. I'm going to do it regardless.
Just a moment out of character. The hypocrisy is intended. No, into character. Darius, I am not going to highlight further the strangeness of your request that we release our moral obligations and submit to our moral obligations to make it up to you. However, adhering to our moral obligations is what makes us the people that we wish to be. I find myself with a moral obligation, upheld or not by social contrivances, to repay you for the actions of our friend. However, I also find a moral obligation to ensuring the safety and well-being of my friend, provided he's awake.
Sorry, the inside joke from last session. It's deep cut. Deep. Continue.
I am open to hearing more about this event that you wish us to partake upon, and I will ensure the well-being of Eridu, and then work on repaying our debt.
Very well. Whatever complicated mental gymnastics you got to do to just accept a simple job, that's fine. We're going to go to the west side. I want you to follow me. And if any of you two try something funny, I will kill you without any hesitation.
I would like to hijack the situation and go back to Eridu if that's all right.
No, that's a great place to cut it. I get the final word.
That's
That's great. So what's up with Eridu?
I felt like it's fitting too. I didn't think there'd be a great clear response to that situation. So Eridu is, sitting in the dark. His eyes used to the dark, being the whole racial dark vision thing. Not having really had an opportunity to examine himself recently, he notices in this kind of raggedy shirt that he's wearing that there is a sleeve tattoo down his right arm that he had never seen before, and it's very artistic swirling waves, and he can see them occasionally moving, and as they do, like the moisture in the air sort of twirls around his fingers, and he's starting to recall like this water whip ability that he's been able to do that seemed to sort of come from no real effort on his own. And that's when he decides to, actually examine himself more fully, seeing along his left arm a similar tattoo, but done in artistic stylings of moving air. And he's watching as those things start swirling. And he stands up and walks up to the door and just delivers one firm punch to the center of the door as these tattoos swirl and send down his full arm, and the ink extends off of him and collides with the door
it blows free of the hinges and slams into the adjacent wall. He looks both ways down the corridor. Seeing nobody, he decides to sit back cross-legged in the center of the cell and wait for someone to come.
All right, then.
Please tell me someone does soon, because I would like to continue with this social interaction situation.
Yeah. Well, first I'm going to preface this, Asa, with saying that you've been in the cell for a long enough amount of time, and you've been in this like quasi-meditative, quasi-depressed state for enough time where you've completely lost track of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's super dark back here. There's no real way that you could use like outside light to determine what time of day it is or not. So you just have no idea for how long that you've been imprisoned. And as soon as you do that thing and the door that blows off its hinges and that whole thing, you feel a sense of expectation coming upon you, as if that action has gotten someone's attention. You've put a call out to the universe, and sure enough, you see a light start to appear off at the end, coming from under the door that leads into the holding cell area, and the door creaks open, and you see two lanterns coming from behind a figure, and it's a very, very large figure, and the footsteps creak, the floorboards creak with the footsteps, and soon enough, inspecting the door that's like blown into the opposite side of the wall, standing there is Garth in front of you, flanked by two guards. His corpulent figure, it just seems to be like constantly moving and just rolling across. Like every little movement he does has like earthquake waves happening all over his corpulent body. And he looks down, looks across at the door, and looks back at you, looks back at the door, looks back at you. He motions to his two guards, and they simply stand on either side of the open area of the door with their hands on their swords, just like ready to defend if you look aggressive at all.
I'll be sitting there crisscrossed with my eyes closed in a very meditative stance. By the way, this is like the most monk-like Eridu has ever really been.
It's a good moment for him.
And I'll say, without looking at him, Garth, are you my accuser?
You know sure how to cut to the quick. I must say I'm impressed, Eridu. Not just this, but I'm impressed that you evaded me for so long.
Yes. Can you tell me, why was it necessary for me to evade you?
Because whether or not you realize it, you're playing the game. And you're playing the game well. But you're going to lose when it comes to going up against the mastermind. He chuckles good-naturedly, like he is laughing at his own joke. He seems very full of himself right now.
Garth, I have no interest in playing anyone's games. And that is the problem between you and I. You see Cold Harbor as a board for which there is a winning and there is a losing. Cold Harbor is my home. Twin Harbor. I'm sorry, wrong game.
Wrong game. Happens.
Twin Harbor is my home. And I will end any threat that comes upon it.
Very well. you're right about the board, and you are only a pawn on that board. You don't think you're a part of it, but you are. And he chuckles even more as he reaches into his inside vest pocket and pulls out your stack of tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
And he just chuckles like he's just making puns all over the place. And I'm holding in all the cards now.
I'm going to open my eyes for the first time and look at him and say, but Garth, you forget that even a pawn can become a queen.
You've always been so clever, Eridu. That's what I love about you. So clever. I think you're so much bigger than you actually are. So, Eridu, let me tell you what is going to happen. You are going to go before the guild council. You're going to go on trial for being a drug trafficker. You will be found guilty. Myself, as the captain of the guard, I have complete control over your sentencing. And I'll be prepared to give you a much more lenient sentence if you do something for me.
What?
Day after tomorrow, Twin Harbor's going to have a visitor. Ambassador Taladris from the Celestial Kingdom is going to be coming to broker a deal with the, I'm sorry, I have the name right here. The South Iridan Shipping Company. Taladris is going to come here to broker a deal with them, an alliance between the Free States and the shipping company. He is going to come from the east. What I want you to do is meet him, meet his escort at the trail guard station that leads to the fork. And I'm going to, just for funsies, put up the Twin Harbor map here.
Yep.
From the eastern side, there are two gates into the city. You've got the northern gate and the southern gate. I want you to meet his escort at the trail guard station where those two paths split off. They are going to be heading for the northern gate, but I want you to take them to the southern gate. Think of any reason that you need to make that happen. But that's it. If they don't go to the southern gate, then I will make sure that your life is a living hell. If you need anything else to sweeten the deal, I want you to know that I can provide you with whatever you need. And at that, his eyes dart right down to your legs.
I'll notice and follow him and say, so, you would trust a junkie with a thing like this? Perhaps you're not as smart as I thought you were.
Something that you should know about junkies is that they're easy to control.
Something else you should know about junkies. They have nothing left to lose.
And we'll see about that.
Tell me, what is waiting for them at the south gate?
I mean, you'll find out.
If you and I are to have an accord, we must have honesty, shouldn't we? If you want me to agree to anything, I must know what I am agreeing to. You can make my life a living hell, but you forget something. Something led me to this place where I decided to use this Sapphire Dream. As I said, there is nothing left.
Very well.
If this threatens my city, I will die for it instead.
I see. What they will find is they will find guards under my control. There is a bit of a schism going on. There are all sorts of plots, all sorts of intrigues happening. I cannot ensure that my guards will be in the northern area, but they will be in the southern area. And that will mean that I will have control over whatever happens, if anything does happen. Trying to cover a lot of bases here.
And what does this deal hold for you?
Not much. I don't have a stake in the South Earden Shipping Company.
I will do this thing for you. You will ensure my freedom. You will ensure amnesty for my friends. And you will put us back on the rosters of protecting the city. We will become members of your guard. Not under your direct control, but with the agency to act as we will.
I see. You drive a surprisingly hard bargain. I would not expect you to have the constitution for it. But I like your spunk, Eridu. I always have. And I can agree to that.
Good. Stay in your shadows. Keep out of sight. When you pull the strings, I don't want to know that it is you pulling.
You never will. You'll never be sure. He looks at his two guards and he says, "Stay here. Watch him."
If you're going to keep me in the cell, fix my door.
Yeah, we'll get right on that.
Thank you.
And Eridu, I thought you might miss these. And he shuffles through the deck of tarot cards that is in his hand, and he pulls one out, and he just flicks it right down to you, and it spins and spins, and it lands with the face visible right in front of you.
And it is?
The tower.
Upside down or right side up?
Right side up.
All right. That is a great place to end.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming getting back to us.
Sure.
Okay, because you guys kind of ended the conversation. I don't know what else is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, as Darius, did he leave us?
Yeah, no, he didn't leave you because he is under the impression that you guys were following him.
Okay. Okay. So then I'm gonna speak out. Obviously, I'm gonna be speaking out loud while Darius is around. So, what are we gonna do about Garth?
There's nothing much that you can do about Garth. The man controls just about everything in Twin Harbor.
Right. Right. That's what I'm saying. As long as he's around, as long as he is in control, we're going to have a lot to contend with. We're going to have to deal with the guards. You're going to have to deal with the guards. We're now under God, microscopes are not a thing. We're under.
It's okay. I'm saying a lot of phrases that don't make sense in a D&D world. You know,
Under the spyglass.
Go for it. Under the spyglass.
Yeah. We're under intense scrutiny.
You could make up like an omnithope or something that doesn't make any sense. Just like, yeah, it totally exists.
Yeah, we're under scry with them. We're under deep scry with them. I don't want to kill him. We need to remove him from power.
Yeah, if you
he's
can
a
think
problem.
I mean, I agree with you. Garth's been strangling this city for months, all to line his fat, dirty pockets. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm all about lining your pockets, but the way he does it is a little brutal. But yeah, if you can think of some clever way to take him out of power, go for it. Be my guest.
Okay. This, by the way, was totally not a thing. This was actually kind of funny that you were doing this while I was thinking that beforehand. Just so you know.
Wait,
this was actually not
what?
one of those like set up. Oh, you did one thing, you did another. I was like, oh, like we need to deal with Garth, and then you did your thing. I was like, oh, this is gonna be.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah. So we've got to find a way of killing two birds with one stone. Your job. I don't know what it is. You didn't tell us, and I get that you don't trust us, so you don't want to tell us. That's fine. Is there a way to frame him for the job?
Perhaps. Okay, so this is what you don't get, is that there's no one to whom we can frame him. There are no authorities to go to. He is the authority.
Right. Okay. I get. Right. I'm not saying. Not. You don't always need to You don't always need to arrest somebody to take their power, right? The court of public opinion is a powerful thing.
Public opinion doesn't matter shit in Twin Harbor. If you haven't been paying attention to the political scene, Orin Vitrell has taken it over. He may as well be instated as the new dictator. He's damn well pretty much there.
There's too much contention between the two empires, right? And by the way, that was an intentional word choice. There's too much contention between them. If there is concern about the neutrality of the city, if there's too much contention with the neutrality of the city, right? Isn't that the whole big point of this dumb city? Is that it is a neutral place between the two empires? Is that not going to be a problem if all of a sudden that neutrality is compromised? Wouldn't one or both sides take over? Like, it seems like there's always a way. There's always someone with whom you can tip the scales towards. All we have to do is find a way of creating a vested interest, whether it's with the people who circumvent Garth's will at every corner. We turn them against him, whether it's getting the dwarves to take him down, whether it's something, I don't know what's going on with this situation. There is always a way to remove him from power.
Darius, would you mind excusing us for just 1 second? Alton, could I just speak to you
Fine.
aside for a moment?
Have your way.
We'll be right with you, Darius, yes.
Darius fishes in his jack vest, whatever, pocket, and pulls out an apple. Rubs his jack vest, whatever. Rubs it on his sleeve and just starts luxuriously eating an apple and looking.
It's a pretty common Twin Harbor garment, the jack vest.
Jack vest. It's a good one.
I'm imagining it's very much something that Michael Jackson would wear. You know, like low jacket with long sleeves.
Looks like Thriller. Yeah. Anyway, have your
and
conversation.
The single glove. Darius has that too.
Alton, I am not entirely certain that it's wise to divulge potential plans of that magnitude and nature to Darius. As much as I have advocated for us being more open and honest with him, with the aim of having a suitable business transaction and a more fruitful relationship with him in the future, not only is our relationship damaged by the events of this evening, but it's also become a bit more clear that Darius is more mercenary than I'd initially anticipated. I'm not entirely certain that we would not be double-crossed by Darius if he found a way to profit from that double-cross. And he would not shed a tear for us.
I'd rather... Okay.
Got no tears to shed.
In this night, we were about to be betrayed by a man we didn't know wanted to set us up. And on the other side, we got our big problem was that we screwed ourselves into a bad situation. Our relationship with Darius is possibly irreparable, but he has had no ill will towards us, and maybe there's a chance that we can be on neutral buoyancy with him when this is all said and done, if we can find some way of balancing his coffers out, right? You know,
I do agree.
Mercenaries are willing to love money.
Yes, I do agree that the nature of our transactions with Darius should perhaps begin and end with how we can work out how he can benefit us, and how, in turn, we can add to his profit margin in an effort to encourage his participation in whatever schemes we may have. It seems to me that repairing somewhat our relationship with Darius to avoid a future double cross is high on our list of priorities. However, I do wish to return to seeking out where Eridu might be. The fact that he may in fact be dead worries me somewhat. It's an outcome that I do not desire, and I wish to do what I can to try and stop that from happening. I understand you and Eridu have not known each other for very long. I myself have known him for scarcely a year. But I would like to think that should something happen to me, Eridu would at least put in some effort to try and save me.
I get you on that one. Look, Eridu's a fine enough fellow. He's, I don't know, does things, I'm sure. The thing is what I'm looking at is, dead or alive, if we don't create a situation where he is safe, then it doesn't matter if he's dead or alive right now. All we've done is prolonged his expectancy. And granted, I don't live as long as elves or even gnomes. My folk live long enough to where a year is less consequential as well. And so I'm not close or connected to him yet, you're right. But I also recognize it could be mutually beneficial in the long run. He may not be someone that I have gotten to know, but he is someone that I think could be a useful friend in the long run if he doesn't continue to fuck us. So,
if I might also offer this potential help in our motivations for helping Eridu. Eridu, my understanding of the few conversations I've had with him over the last few months, recently came into a sizable sum, courtesy of an elven family. I forget the name, but he had a friend of his who had access to these sums of wealth. These sums of wealth coming from outside Twin Harbors may be of interest to our friend Darius here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You people always put money above all, and if there's a relationship to be had where we can use Eridu to connect to money, big money to Darius, there's a vested interest in Darius wanting to help Eridu. That's really smart. That's actually really smart. Onn, that was helpful.
Even when he's being genuine, Alton sounds like he's just
sounds so condescending. Is there a way for Alton to like reach up and pat on the head? You know, just like,
no, not even
you're
close.
so good.
I think he needs a stool or two.
Doing great.
Yeah, he needs he needs a good sized ladder.
Well,
he's 2'8".
You can pat him on the butt then. You could reach up and be like, good job.
I'll
good
pat
job.
him on the butt. Yeah, pat him on the butt. Good job. No, you're right. Yes. Yeah. So no, that's a good idea. Yeah, like you said, money is going to be the most important thing. We can always trust money. People who are power hungry are want to change their mind at a moment's notice. People who are concerned with money are very predictable.
It seems to me, my friend Alton, that money has transitioned from not only a holdover for bargaining between different communities when bartering for goods and services, but also serves as a measure of not only wealth, but social status. Promising someone more social status serves as a sort of an IOU for social graces. If you offer someone a large sum of money, then that person is due more respect in a certain community. It's an odd concept, to be sure, but one that I'm slowly learning about.
Yeah, you're right. More money comes with it higher status, even if you don't share your money. Big folk are weird. At least when, for us, how much you share is how much you're respected in the community. If you have a lot and don't share, then you're not. Then you haven't done anything. But hoarding wealth here seems to be the social currency of choice. So if we provide that, that's best.
It might be best, if we continue with this conversation another time. Darius looks like he's finishing his apple.
Also, who's got the Power Ranger sound going on?
Oh, sorry, that's my ringtone.
Typical Drew.
It's all the way over there. I didn't want to get up and go and get it.
All right, so yeah, in fact, Darius has eaten his apple, and before he says anything, just to sum it up, it's like what you guys talked about was the way that you can leverage Darius into helping you guys even more, essentially. Just kind of talking that out. Okay. So
we're basically using that Eridu is beneficial as a go-between in order for Darius to make a commercial contact.
Yes. So
and
either
so we're
Darius
leveraging more money.
Yes. So either Darius can help us find and rescue Eridu with the promise of money, or grant us a reprieve from going on this little heist thing that he wants to do, while we go away and rescue Eridu with the promise that we will then come and make it up to him, and it'll be better for it because we'll have worked some way to repair our relationship, and the relationship is more skewed in Darius's favor because now he knows a rich person.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this gonna like turn into a big old conversation, like were you guys trying to convince Darius or something?
Abstract that to basically asking Darius, do you want to come and help us rescue Eridu, or will you give us the time and space to go and rescue Eridu, and we'll come back and help you later? Promise of big bucks at the end.
Okay, well
either way, the promise of big bucks is there. It's whether he wants to come and help us for greater prestige with Eridu and the Tack and Tires, or whether he wants to give us to separate himself to not be directly implicated in the freeing of Eridu.
Okay, we'll cover that when we come back from our break. It's about halfway through. I gotta think. I
curveball
just
for the next 2 episodes.
Just gotta think about that for a second.
So
give me a second.
These messages, we'll be right back.
After these messages,
we'll be
right back.